Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. And I'm really glad you could join me today. And if you're listening to this show on Podomatic, then please go to iTunes. You can find the show there as well, which is now, I believe, called Apple Podcasts. So if you have that on your phone or device, you can easily find Women Entrepreneurs Radio. And I hope that you will also leave a review of the show and just let folks know what you thought, or, leave some stars, 5 stars, I hope, about it. Hope that you've enjoyed it. And you can also come to the website, womenentrepreneursecrets.com, and you can leave information for me if you have any ideas about upcoming shows, the topics you'd like covered. There's a form there that you can leave that information. Also, if you go to the podcast tab on the menu, you can find all the platforms that the show is on. There's also a platform called LiveSyn that the older shows are being moved to a few at a time. So that's another way for you to check out other guests have been on over the years, because it's the 10th year of the show. So there's a lot of shows that have been done. So I hope that you will check them out and, also check out the entrepreneurs who have come and taken their time to share their story with you. So I think that would be great. Hope that you will do that. So we're going to get started today with my guest. Naomi Sodomin is an international best-selling author, speaker, and life transformation coach. Her book, Embrace the Mirror, Vision of Abundance and a Stronger You, launched in December 2017 to rave reviews and top-tier sales. She's fast becoming one of the most in-demand and prominent speakers and coaches on the scene today. A registered nurse and a valued member of the medical community, Naomi has extensive experience in transitioning and mentoring. She's founder and president of Embrace the Mirror, a company established to provide mentoring coaching for women feeling trapped in corporate America who are ready to quit their day job. She teaches them how to start their own unique business, one that allows them to work for themselves and manifest their dreams. She helps them strategize and put a solid plan in place while they exit. Welcome to the show, Naomi. Really glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited because that's a topic that I'm super passionate about. I'm passionate about, how do you get out of corporate America? Because there's so many people, we find ourselves really, really stuck to where we need to make a change, and we know that we don't want to work to corporate America. So how do we get out? Because I've been there. And so I'm so excited and feel so honored and so grateful that you have me on your show. And it's just so exciting to know that the show's been around for 10 years. That's great success. So I want to say congratulations to you on that as well.
Well, thank you so much, actually. It was one of those things that I just took a chance and said, well, let me just try this. I didn't think it was going to be going on for this long, but it's turned out to, gone on much longer than I expected. So I guess the thing is you never know how things will work out. And,
right.
Yeah, it's given me a great opportunity to meet so many people. And that is something that never would have happened otherwise. So I'm really grateful for that, too. But, I really want to, hear more about this topic and start with you. But if you could just take a moment and share, how did you, get started on this road for coaching, your book out there? What was your journey?
Well, for me, I became a registered nurse, and so I worked a lot in alongside of doctors and anesthesiologists, and at one point in time, I took on starting a surgery center from scratch with a group of physicians. And from that moment, I worked really hard, and I made good money, and I made a six-figure income, and it was good. But there was always this thing that was missing. The thing that was missing for me is I wanted freedom, right? I wanted more freedom, to be able to do the things I wanted to do. I wanted to take a vacation when I wanted to take a vacation. I didn't necessarily want to get up on Monday mornings. And then the unthinkable happened. I wasn't planning on having a child, and my son showed up. So now that same conversation of flexibility that I was constantly having, well, now it was like, oh, it's not a conversation anymore. I need to be flexible because I wanted to be around. And growing up, my mom was a single mom, and she worked all the time, so she wasn't around for me. And so that's what started that conversation of, for years I knew I wanted to get out, but I just didn't have the motivation. So the birth of my son gave me the motivation. But as I was stepping out, what I realized is that so many of us are afraid to step out because, one, we don't really know what we're going to do. And so I decided that if I was going to step out, I didn't no longer want to do work that I didn't love. So one of my tips to the people who are stepping out is you want to create a business that you actually love. You want to create something that you love to do, because that's what got your show to the 10th year, because obviously you love doing that. And so that's how I got started. I started taking a look at my skills that I already had and my role as a registered nurse. What did I enjoy the most? Well, I discovered that what I enjoyed the most was I mentored new nurses, and I love mentoring them, and I helped them on their journey. And so I began to realize, oh, wow, I love to mentor, and I love to write. I love to teach. And so I created Embrace the Mirror around everything that I love and enjoy to do.
Wow, that's perfect. And yes, you're right. If you're doing something that you love, it really does not feel like work. It just seems to flow, and you put everything into it because you are, the feeling leads you, the passion leads you. So that is so true. I really, really agree with that 100%. But, I know that you have tips for helping women to make this exit.
Yeah, so there's a couple of tips that I have, and one of my favorite thing is I everybody says quit your job, and I'm tired of my job. Well, I'm just gonna take the leap. But you gotta be smart, right? You gotta strategize about taking the leap. So you need to put a plan in place. So you need to kind of take a look at your life and say, okay, well, I am here now, and I know that I want to exit corporate America. So tip number one is figure out what's my unique skills that I have that I can actually create a business around that. Tip number two is for you to put a plan in place. Is this a 3-year goal? Is this a 2-year goal? How are you going to transition? Tip number three is for you to actually join a community. Like, this is a whole community, right? For entrepreneurs, because what's happened is you need a community that can support you, a community where like-minded people come together. So that's tip number two, is for you to join a community that can support you. And then your next step that you want to do is you don't want to go out there in the world alone and be what my mentors call a lone ranger, right? So you want to hire a transformational coach to help you tap into your creativity, your talent. And so for me, when I was taking the leap, it was, I had a solid plan in place. I put some money your way to support that plan. And then I joined communities. And, this is like a great community because you listen and you have other entrepreneurs come on your show. And that gives you motivation, that gives you inspiration. And then you hire a coach. When you work with a coach, someone that can transform you, they actually help you take a look at your mindset, and they support you in your journey. So for me, having that coach really helped me to stick to who I am really was that, Naomi, you're a writer, you're a speaker, you're a coach. That's who you are. And that actually helped me grow and along with getting more clarity as I start developing my business.
Mm-hmm. So, if there's somebody who is in business or listening now who feels a little trapped by her corporate job, but she's not really sure what she should do, what would you recommend?
Well, the first step I would recommend really what I call is you get to that state. It's like when you're standing at the edge, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to jump, but you're not afraid to jump. But being at the edge is so painful, right? So what I commend is to just say yes. That's the first step, right? Mm. Is to say yes to yes, I'm going to step out in a big way. Yes, I'm going to take the lead. And I think until you say yes, then you don't get clarity. Mm. So the first step, I would say, if you're thinking, wow, I really want to step out, I'm not sure if I'm going to step out, just be brave enough to say yes to it. And then once you say yes to it, trust that the universe is going to show you what the next step is. Now, yes doesn't mean yes, and then tomorrow I quit my job, right? Yes just means yes. I'm going to do this.
It's just yes, right?
Right. So I think a lot of the time when we're at the edge, we're going, if I say yes, I got to jump right now.
Yes. That's true.
But you don't have to jump right now. You just have to say yes. And that yes, once you say that yes, it actually frees you. It actually help you get back into your body. And now you can start focusing on, okay, what's my next step? I said yes to this vision. So what do I do next?
That's a great point that you made, because I think so many people think it's yes means now, like you said, now you have to jump off. And you really don't have to do that. Yes, you can just say yes.
It's that fear. I'll tell you, Deb, I remember really when I was wanting to step out and I went on a hike, and I'll never forget this. And for me, I couldn't put it in my mind how I was going to give up my 6-figure income. I work with a group of physicians, and I was getting $60,000 bonuses on top of my 6-figure income, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's very hard if you're in that position to just go, yes, I'm just gonna
exactly
right? Mm-hmm. And it dawned on me, wait, Naomi, you just say yes, you're going to do it, but yes doesn't mean that you need to go and quit your job tomorrow. And so what happened is say yes, and then once you accept that, then you can start doing a transition. So if we look at life, right, we're in constant transition in our own lives, right? Mm-hmm. So we transition from being a child to a young adult, from being a young adult to an adult, from an adult to a middle class. So think of it that way. You're going to make a transition from being a professional working woman to being a business owner.
So you look at the steps that you're making that transition.
Right, right. Mm-hmm. So it's like setting the goal. You say, yes, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to start my own business. And then you start working backwards to meet that vision.
So your tip about joining a community, how would you encourage women to find the nurturing community that they may want to be a part of?
Well, there's a lot of communities out there. So to find a good community, and every community might not be a fit for everyone. So let's say that first.
Yeah.
Okay. So every community might not be a fit for you, but to find a good community, you need to know who you are. So like, what are your top, how do I say that? What are the things that you live by, right? We all have morals. What are your morals? For me, I like authentic people, right? Mm-hmm. I like people to be truthful. I like people to be authentic. So just knowing that I love being around authentic and truthful people guide me towards when I see a community, I go, oh, are these people being authentic? right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you want to look, and there's so many communities as far as places that you can join communities. Facebook now, it's like the big thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many groups that you can get into. And so just look at entrepreneur communities that you are interested in. Start following people and see, is this a person that I resonate with? And then you start, as you follow them, you start get to know, do they have my ideal in mind? Do I resonate with this person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then you join those community, because here's the truth. I have to admit, guys, I'm a lone ranger. I'm the one, if there's a group, let me go in the corner over here and do my thing. But I was coaching with my first business coach, and I'll never forget that. And he told me, he says, Naomi, you need to join a community. I'm like, why? I got you. You are my community. But here's the thing. When the entrepreneur journey is a lonely journey, right? Because there's only a small percentage of us who are brave enough to step out and say yes to our goal, right? So remember when we were standing on the cliff, there's only a small percentage of us that goes, okay, I'm going to jump, right? So you need to be around that small percentage of people, because you're going to find that you're human. Fears are going to come up. You're going to get to where you're discouraged. You're going to have people around you that's going to tell you, well, that's not going to work. How many people, people begged my husband, please don't let her quit her job.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I can't. I would if I could, but I can't. This is what she's wanting to do. So you're going to have those people around you that's going to tell you that it's not going to work. So you need that community that can pour into you so that you can energize yourself, so you can get into the right mindset, so you can overcome the fear, and then you can continue past the roadblocks that's thrown in your way. And I'm sure, Deb, you know that, right? How many people probably didn't think that your show was going to be around 10 years later?
Well, that's true. I mean, in the beginning, then, I remember at first I put out something on the online thing for publicity, and I got tons of people who wanted to be on, and then I had to go through all that and figure out who was really legit and who really had something to say. And then when I went through that process, then after a while I started to ask people, but then, they'd be excuses or blah, blah, blah. And then after a while, people started to come to me and they started to want to be on, and I didn't have to go chase people. And some people turned up later who I may have asked a couple of years before, and I'm sure they probably didn't remember that I may have asked them, but then there they were. So I think there's a lot to do with, like you said, lining up with what you're talking about, the groups, lining up with the right group, the right thing for you, and also just saying yes, and sometimes just letting things unfold and just going with that, rather than thinking you have to force things to be a certain way.
Right.
Yeah.
And also too, I always say that the universe will only show you the first 20 feet.
Oh my goodness, no wonder.
I like the whole enchilada, right?
I know, that doesn't seem like a lot to me.
Right, I want the whole enchilada. So when I said yes, I was going to step out, it was more, yes, I'm going to be a coach. But then that led to me becoming an author that I did not foresee, right? That led to me becoming a best-selling author. So it's very scary for someone like me who wants the whole enchilada to go, okay, universe, I'm just going to jump. But just know that in the beginning, you're going to need that support. You're going to need that community to pour into you. And so it's for the people that are listening, that are watching, this is your community. Her community is your community, because you're hearing me. And maybe hearing my story will inspire you, and you will hear other people's story, and you will be around like-minded people. People that are like you, people that has the same dreams with you. I love my family very, very much, but they're like, I really don't understand the entrepreneur journey. They don't. Right. But my entrepreneur friends, I just got back from my mastermind. I'm in global leader the Global Leader Program with Lisa Nichols. If you don't know who she is, she's amazing. She's one of the top motivational speakers in the country right now. And coming back with those people, you know, it's just a whole different environment. And when I'm with my other friends who are mom, they really don't understand what it is that I do. I can explain it to them all day. They don't get it.
Right. Yes. They may not quite get where you're going.
Right. My friends, like, you're going on a radio show. Like, where do you have to drive to get there, and how many hours? And what do you do when you're on a radio show with David? Like, they just don't understand my world. You know, they don't understand how we think and how we process. And I think when you're around people like you, just like I'm having this great conversation with Deb today, because she's an entrepreneur, it's very inspiring. So when I get off this call, I'm so inspired because she gets me.
Well, that's a good point, you know, because a lot of people, women may be in the workplace and they may feel a call to do something, as you're saying, but they don't have those people around them that will encourage that. Yeah. So they will be wondering how, you know, am I crazy because I can see this and they can't see it?
Exactly.
Definitely. So it sounds like, especially since this is what you do, being a transformational coach is someone who can help people to pull all these things together. Yes.
As a matter of fact, that's really what I do. What I do is I actually help you put a plan in place so that you say yes. You don't have to jump. The plan. So now let's take a look at the plan. Okay, let's take a look at the plan, and we figure out what it is. We get really clear on what it is that we want to do. Because what happened is a lot of the time it's in our head, right? And once it's in your head, it's very scary. I'll give you an example. One of my sister-in-law told me, well, when I turn 60, I want to retire. And this was 15 years ago. And I'm good at planning and strategizing. And she says, it's never going to happen. I lost my husband. He left me in a bunch of bills. And I said, well, let's just put a plan in place. Let's just not look at the retirement. It seems scary, right? I'm going to retire. Am I going to have enough money for the rest of my life? So let's put a plan in place. Let's take a look at it and let's see how do we achieve that. And so that's what I work with you to do, and also to help you stand in your own power and authority. Because when we're in our power, we can say yes. You know, that day when I went out and I went on that hike and I was standing on the hill and I said yes. It was powerful. Then later on, it's like, what the heck did you just do, right?
After the fact, then you start to say, wait a minute.
Right, wait a minute, right? And so and so that's what I do, is help you, you know, put a plan in place. Let's take a look at what you want to, let's take a look at where you're at. Let's take a look at where you want to go and what we're going to have to get to put in place to get you there. And so that was the same process with my sister-in-law. I realized that is something that I'm amazing at, to get you to look at where you're at. I got her to look at where she's at, where she wants to go, and what we have to do. And so we put a plan in place. And she retired at 60. She's 62 now, and she retired. And it was a great thing because my mother-in-law just passed. And I'm like, I'm so glad I helped you, because now you can be there for 8 weeks that I can't be there. So it's putting that plan in place. And once you have a plan, it's not scary. It becomes like a goal, right? It's something that you're working toward.
So could you share a little bit about where people can find out more about you and your programs?
Yes, definitely. To find out more about me, you can visit me at Embrace the Mirror. It's Embrace, EMBRACE, the Mirror. And you can go on my website. I'm also a lot on Facebook, so you can go to Embrace the Mirror. You can find my page on Facebook. That's pretty much the two venues that you can find me on. It's really social media and my website as well.
Wonderful. And could you share a little bit about the inspiration for you writing your book?
Oh, wow. You know what? This is what I was talking about. I'm one of those people that really want the whole enchilada. I never wanted to be an author. And so what happened is when I decided, I just put a little plan in place. I'm going to work part-time. I'm going to decrease my hours, right? That's what we're talking about, a plan, right? I'm going to lower my hours. And then once I lower my hours, I'll find more time. And so the inspiration came with just me starting a little blog, and just talking about my life. And then I decided that I would go out and I would interview successful people. And that's why I say find a community, because I'm a lone ranger, but I was hungry to talk to successful people. And one of my mentors actually saw a little ebook that I wrote, which was 3 chapters. And she says, Naomi, I didn't even know you were such an amazing writer. And she says, you need to write a book. And I thought, a book? Like, I never set out to be an author, but okay, I'll write a book. And it just took off. People loved it. And it was the first time that I actually really, in my book, it's about 3 things. It's about how do you embrace who you are, self-discovery, discovering who you are, how to awaken your spirit. And it's the first time that I actually shared. It's a collection also of my own personal stories of triumphs and failure. So it's the first time I share my own personal stories to actually help you move forward. So that's why I said that you don't really know what's going to happen, right?
Yes.
And so there's this energy. I'm not very religious, but I believe that there is an energy that innately wants us to be better, to have more, to be doing work that we love, and it's already have all the plan in place for us. And so if we just start with saying yes, and that's the first step, and then the rest of it unfold. And so that's how my book came about. There's no accident in the universe, but it wasn't something that I set out to do when I set out to be an entrepreneur. So I'm very excited about it. I'm very proud of it. So many people love it. It became an international bestseller, but I went from saying yes to, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, to now I'm a best-selling author.
That's wonderful.
Best-selling author. Yeah.
That is excellent. Oh my goodness, terrific. And people can find your book more also on your site.
There's 2 ways to get my book. You can go to my site. If you want an autographed copy of the book, then you go to my website, and you can get an autographed copy of the book. If you just want to get it off of Amazon, you're a Kindle reader. For me, I love books.
Yeah.
I need to highlight. If you're that kind of person, then I would recommend go to my website. I will actually, if you want an autographed copy, I would autograph it for you. But if you don't, you can just go to Amazon. You can get the copy, the Kindle copy, where you can download it, or you can get the regular book. The other thing that I do is I mentor people that actually wants to write. I've been a writer my whole life, and this is what I was talking about. When you take that leap, you really don't really know, but you already have all the skills that you need,
Right.
It's how do you tap into those skills? So one of the things that I do now is I also work with people who wants to write a book, and I also show them, oh, this is how you do it. It was very an innate, easy skill for me,
Yeah. That's wonderful. So, Naomi, we have just about been, I think, about a half hour or more. And, you've shared so many wonderful things and your important tips here. I'm sure people want to get a lot out of, and I, really appreciate that. I know you were under the weather, so I really appreciate that you got energized so you can
Yes, when we do what we love, we get energized about it, right? We get, and this is why you need a community, because for a long time I thought I was I was a crazy, right? There's nobody like me. I'm special. I'm a unicorn. I'm this, I'm that. And then I get into Lisa Nichols' community. I'm like, you guys are just as crazy as I am. That's what y'all, right? You can go out, you can form relationship with those people. You can go out to dinner with those people and have that conversation about where you at and your fears, what's showing up for you. You do that. You do need that. And in closing here, I really believe that we are truly one, right? And your strength support my strength. Like your service right now that you are giving, Deb, is actually supporting my talent, right? So we need each other. And so that's why we have to find the people that are like us as entrepreneurs if we are wanting to succeed.
Wow, that is so perfectly said. Perfectly said. That I think there truly is nothing more to add to that, because that really tells us everything we need to know about how we can be better and really do the work we're supposed to do out here in the world, and get rid of that corporate job. If you're ready to go, then you certainly, I'm sure, have some good tips now to learn from, and to definitely learn more from Naomi. And I thank you so much for joining me today. This has just been a terrific conversation.
Awesome. Yes. And I just want you guys out there that are listening to remember this. The more freedom that you have, it's not just for you, but it becomes that you are going to do more for the world, and the world becomes a better place, right? The work that Deb is doing is actually transforming lives. She's helping people like me to reach other people to transform lives. And so that there is a plan for you, and that the universe is friendly to that plan, because we are all here to grow, move forward, and advance in our lives, but spiritually, physically, mentally, and that's really where true joy and happiness comes.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time to share this. You're very welcome. Really glad that you could join me. I'm sure everyone will get so much out of this and will certainly be ready to get going. So, everyone, I know you enjoyed this show. Please make sure to share it on social media and visit Naomi's site. Check out her book. Really take her tips and just run with them and do what you can, what you feel drawn to do. I think that would be wonderful if you would. So once again, to Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. And thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you again next time. Bye. Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on Facebook.com/Women Entrepreneurs and on the website WomenEntrepreneurSecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dvcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.